Right, let's give this a few seconds. Just log into YouTube just to make sure that we are getting a live feed. The composition is correct, and then we will start. So just bear with us 2 seconds. Let's just see if we are all aligned. Also as well, just to make sure the audio is working. Just a general checkup, so do bear with us for the time being. Let's just validate these. And we will go home, our channel, just make sure we're all set. Yep, so we are live. I'm just going to click onto this live video. Brilliant. Okay, fantastic. So we are good to go. So thank you for everybody that is tuning in, and if you aren't tuning in, you're coming back to watch this video at a later date. We thank you ever so much for doing that. Due to the current situation in the world, obviously we are taking matters into our own hands and starting to do our live streams from home. So I am the UK and European marketing manager for NANLITE Global. I'm based in London in the UK, and I'm obviously stuck at home, so I can't get into the studio to produce these videos and make them very cinematic, so I'm just at home. So I thought what we would do is a series of videos going into more detail in and around the key features and stuff like that. So we've done the Forza 60. The Forza 60 video ran on for a fair bit of time. We won't do that again this time. We'll keep them a lot shorter and a lot more succinct. And we covered a huge range of accessories with the Forza 60. Now, with the Forza 300, we won't be doing that. But what we will be doing is talking about the core USPs of this product and yeah, just giving you some insight into what's in the bag, give you a bit of an idea of what's going on there, and talk about some of the differences between the 300 and the 500, and also just some other bits and bobs that are going on with NANLITE in general. So if there are any questions at any point, please do pop them into the feed, and then at the end of the live stream, I will answer those. Reconnect. Ha. Ta-da! Okay, so apologies about that. That was a bit embarrassing. So I had a notification come up on my phone, and that obviously stopped the live stream. So yes, so what we're going to do is just cover basically some of the things that are going on at the moment. Talk about the Forza 300, and then we'll schedule in the next live stream, which we're going to be doing for the Forza 500, and then some of the other accessories and around it. So first things first, we currently have a Forza promotion. So at the moment, anywhere in the world, if you buy a Forza, you can get a specific discount. So if you buy a Forza 60, you can get the Bowens adapter absolutely free, or you can get a discount to the same value roughly. If you buy a Forza 300, you'll get a Forza 60 free, or to the value discount. If you buy a Forza 500, you will get the FL20 Fresnel, and you'll also get a Forza 60 as well, or you'll get the value discount in that. So a really good incentive to sort of pick up one of these lights. And you know, the lights have been doing phenomenally well. The Forza 500 has just won the Photography News Award LED Light of the Year. Now this is a huge accolade for us to win, because we were up against some of the, you know, people like Rotolight, people like Elinchrom, and we won them. You know, we beat them. We beat the Rotolight Titan, which is a phenomenal accolade to have. So it just goes to show that the Forza range are extremely powerful, well built, and high quality lights, you know, to be able to win awards. We won an award last year with the guys using our Pavo tubes. So it's good to win. It's 2 years in a row with a different product, which is great. So some really exciting stuff there. We also have our newsletter competition. Now that has come to an end, but it doesn't mean that you can't be considered for the next competition. So every month we have a newsletter competition, and the way that works is if you are a member of our mailing list, you will get exclusive access to what the prize is. Now we tend to give that to our mailing list up to 10 days before we announce it on our social media. So there's a real incentive to be part of our monthly newsletter. In our monthly newsletter, we have a range of, you know, kind of guides to how to use our light, talk about new products, and just keep you updated with what's going on with NANLITE across the globe. So it's well worth doing it. Also, if you follow us on all of our socials, you can quadruple the opportunity to win the monthly prize. So to be entered, you have to follow us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, like our page on Facebook, and also be registered to our monthly newsletter. Now, if you only do one of those, you only have one opportunity to win. If you do two of them, two opportunities, free opportunities. So it makes sense to go for 4 opportunities, because then you maximize that chance of being able to come away with the prize. So this month's prize is a Forza 60, and we'll be announcing that on the 30th. That will go out across our social media, and then we'll also share it through our newsletter. So I'll pop a link down below to sign up to our newsletter, and also to follow the links to get to all of our other socials. So yeah, well worth doing. Keep your eyes on that, and hopefully you could be a winner in the future. So first things first, with the Forza 300, I just want to go into a little bit of detail in and around what's in the box. So first of all, you will see, if I just sort all these bits and bobs out, it comes with a very robust carry case. Now, this is a professional grade lighting piece of equipment, so it makes sense to have a case that is just as robust. If you see, like, I turn it up to you now, you can see in there we've got a range of equipment. Now, there is one thing in there that doesn't belong to this kit. I'll take that out and I'll explain to you later what that does. But as you can see, the kit is all in there, nicely laid out. You have the head, the ballast, the hard reflector, and also some of your cables. So if I just pull that into shot now, you can see, which is pretty cool. Oh yes, so we've got Gareth. Hey Gareth, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Fingers crossed, everyone. That carry case is amazing. So yeah, he's just basically saying fingers crossed for everybody that's entering the competition. So that's the bag. It's robust. These straps can come off, so you can open it right up. There's a shoulder strap here as well. So very similar to what we saw on the Forza 60 the other day. This is robust, and it gives you enough flexibility to put all of your equipment in there and carry it around. So let's start off with what's in the box. This for me is probably the single most important part in the box. So this basically is a clamp. So this opens up, connects to your stand, and tightens. That tightening basically facilitates it being the ballast being linked onto it and supporting the weight. And I'll show you that in a second, which is just a great feature to have, because it means that you've got somewhere to always have your ballast to sort of sit, rather than have to kind of like jimmy rig something up so it can sit there. You've got a solution for your ballast all the time, which is amazing. So that's the first thing in the box. Second is our head. And you can see here, look, this is a carbon fiber body head, and we have a huge COB chip. So this COB is phenomenally, it's a huge COB, which means it has a lot of power, and it's going to be spectacularly bright. Carbon fiber, steel alloy. We have a yoke system built onto here, so that's going to give you full mobility of the head itself to move around in a full range of motions, which is great. Rather than it being limited in terms of the angle you can direct it, you have real power and scope over sort of where you're pointing it, either directly up. And as I said, at the moment we're being lit by a Forza 500, and all I'm doing is just bouncing the light at the ceiling, it's cascading down and lighting me pretty well. So that's the second part. Close that down just there. We then have this, which is our hard reflector. So our hard reflector would mount onto the front of here, and that's obviously a Bowens S-mount adapter. Now inside here, just like the 60, what you will notice is that it's mottled, and that's going to give you the ability to amplify the output. So with this on, you find that your lux reading will go through the roof. It makes it a far more powerful lighting system with this on. So well worth having. We've got that on there. Then we have our power pack. So this is the power pack for the Forza 300. This would then plug into the ballast. Now the bit that I had separate is this is the difference between the 500 and the 300. So the 300 is a smaller power pack system. The 500 is a larger one that is vented at either end. And that's because it's dealing with higher wattage, it's dealing with 200 more watts. So therefore it's going to be more powerful. So it's well worth factoring that in. And this will clip dual in, whereas this is a single clip. And the way that works is it plugs into this guy here. So this is your power pack. I'm just going to pop this down, move some of my other bits out of the way, and you guys can see everything clearly because that's covering my face. So I'm just going to plonk that there like so. And then what we have here is a leather strap for carrying it. So if you do want to be mobile, you can anchor this and you can move it around. Now the clip that we had on there is this guy here. So this clamps onto the stand. This mounts into here, and this means that you can mount this anywhere, okay? And it gives you great flexibility over where to do it. So you can clip this onto a C stand, a smaller travel stand. You can clamp it basically anywhere, which is great. So I've got a question here from Gareth. So to be fair, the more I see this NANLITE kit, the more I'm so interested in seeing and learning. Great, so that's fantastic. I have been fortunate enough to work for a range of different manufacturers in the photography industry. So I've worked for Bowens, I've worked at Rotolight, I've worked at a few sort of lighting suppliers, and you know, NANLITE to me, especially the Forza range and the Pavo Tube, like they are some of the most innovative products out there. And you know, when it comes to innovation, there is normally a hefty price tag. Now, the thing with these products is, you know, because we manufacture everything in our plant, so all of the components, we make them all in our factories over in China. And because we make them all there, it means we have so much more control over the cost of these products. So therefore, they're way more affordable compared to some of the other products out there. And that by no means is like, you know, saying they're cheap. They are affordable. And the reason they're affordable is because we have end-to-end production. And that gives you the ability to control the production line and, you know, make things more efficient. So we are not just buying these components from all over the world to then put them into one piece of unit. Like we engineer everything from end to end, and that gives this, you know, the ability to have such high quality products. So in terms of how this system works is you'll see that this is a metal body, nice and secure. What you'll basically have at the top is your menu system. Now there are a few, probably hold that closer to you guys there. You can see the menu system just there. So you've got a control button, you've got menu system. Obviously it's not switched on at the moment, but the top buttons you have are effects. This will control the special effects that are built into it, and I will talk you through those in a minute. We have trigger. This will trigger some of those special effects. So things like storm and flash, you can manually trigger those to add to the effect in whatever cinematic sequence you're doing. Menu, which gives you the options to access your menu and all the stuff inside it. And then you have your lock key. So once you set in your parameters, you can push lock and that will hold it into place, which is great. We can turn it up and down. So this stays like that. The ballast plugs into here like so. We then connect this into here. Once that's locked in, you would then use this to mount on top of a stand. And then in terms of cabling, there are two cables that it comes with. So I'll just grab those both out now. So this cable here will basically connect the ballast to the head. Now, the great thing with this is there is no way to get it wrong, because at one end you have female, the other end you have male. On the head, you have a male jack, and on the body you have a female jack. So that means you can't get these confused. You know, whatever jack you're plugging it into, you're always going to get them right. So plug that into there, and then that will plug into the head. So I'm just going to set up. Obviously there's no power running to it, but you'll get the idea. This then jacks into the head like so. And there we go. So we're connected in. This is a heavy duty plug. This is not going to go anywhere, okay? This is really secured in there, and it gives you enough distance. Now, because this is high powered and the voltage that's required to run this system, people have been requesting longer cables. We do have an extension cable, but what you have to bear in mind is there is a limitation to that extension. And the reason being is we just won't be able to carry the voltage across, okay? You need more power to be able to just push it across, and then you'll suffer massively from impedance and all that sort of stuff. So there is a limitation to the cables we use, and that's why we don't have these huge long extensions. The great thing is, this is running, so we're in the UK, so we have a traditional 3-pin. In Europe, it would be the 2-pin. In America, Australia will be the 3-pin, the smaller system. So because this is a 13 amp system here, what we basically got is, although I don't have the extension here, I can extend this cable, okay? So I can draw the power through the cable, I can extend that, plug that into there, and it's gonna give me more than enough room to be able to use it. And like I say, if you do need an extension, there is a head extension cable, it's accessible, but there is a limitation to how far that goes because obviously the draw of the voltage. So that's kind of what's in the bag and the whole system, but I'm just gonna walk you through some of the key specifications so you've got it. Now, I've got them in front of me because just making sure the numbers are totally factually correct for everybody. So just like the Forza 60, the 300 and the 500 have a CRI of 98 and a TLCI of 95. So they are both deemed professional standard for quality, light fidelity, basically meaning when it says it's 5,600 daylight balance, it's 5,600 or as close to it as it can possibly be. And for a product at this price point, that's phenomenally accurate. You know, it's really spectacular how accurate it is. We've tested these with some of Seconic's top of the range lighting light measurers, and they, you know, they always hit the mark in terms of their accuracy. And we've got a lot of people out there in the community that regularly post the comparisons between us and other COB LED manufacturers in the industry and how accurate we are in both our power output in terms of lux and also our color fidelity. So lots of times, sometimes with manufacturers, they will do their tests and the results they get sometimes are overhyped for marketing purposes. Ours are always extremely accurate and super, like they always sort of impress people. We have people coming to us and saying, look, we've just done tests and these are the results I'm getting. And it's a real accolade to the quality of these bits of kit, which is phenomenal. I'm just gonna pop these down and then you guys can see what we're dealing with here. So that covers our CRI. Then we also have its compact and lightweight design, which means it's super versatile for our indie producers and also for photographers as well. I'm a traditional strobist and I've moved slowly to an LED system. And the reason being is I can now use all of my light shaping tools from Bowens on my Forza equipment. So even the Forza 60 with the Bowens step-up mount, all of my existing Bowens equipment I can use. So all of that heritage stuff comes with me. Beauty dishes, soft boxes, barn doors, strips, you name it, it's all available to use on this system here. And it's high powered enough for me not to have to use my flash. Personally, I would only use flash for freeze in motion now. For stills in the studio, I would go to my Forza 300, maybe with a Forza 60 as a kicker. I'll put a link to some of my personal work in the summary down once I post this video. I'll put a link to my personal work and you can have a little look at it because the majority of it is shot with Forza, and most people will say, okay, well, what f-stop do you use on these? Now, I would tend to shoot maybe 2.8 to sometimes 5 along those lines, and I can do that with a system like this because it's powerful enough. Okay, with speed lights and other LED products, they just don't generate, other LED diode products, they just don't generate enough power to be able to shoot at the aperture because they just don't have enough light. These have more than enough light to shoot at that aperture and be able to get all the quality of your subject. So you can really make a transition from a flash or strobist to a continuous light shooter without really having to change your settings in the camera. So I can happily shoot at, you know, f2.8 to f5, ISO 100, shutter speed 100 to 125, and still get great results. And you can see that in some of my work. And if you have any questions, you can pop them in. It's pretty clear to see. In terms of some of the special effects it comes with, so we have storm, flash, TV, and bad bulb. And just like the Forza 60, these are special effects that are added into this system so you can recreate specific scenes. So for instance, you know, flash, TV, and bad bulb, you would normally need a flicker box to be able to create those in cinema production. That's an expensive bit of kit that needs programming and controlling. This is all done through this system here. You can control it through a mobile phone app, and you can also control it through a remote control, which is great to have, and it's far less expensive and complex to set up and use, which is again another great feature to have. You also have your controls. So if you have a little look on the side, you can see here that we are DMX out and DMX in. So you can add this to an existing DMX setup. So say for instance, you are doing a complex lighting scene with light sequencing and you want to be able to control all of the lights in that sequence. This can be added into that. So there's no limitations. If you are a startup creative and you only need, you know, to be able to do sort of one light setups in the studio, this will facilitate that. If you want to do a multiple light setup in the studio or move into higher cinema production that requires a DMX, this will also do it. So you can go from amateur all the way through to professional without sort of limiting the, without being limited at all anywhere along that process, which is pretty impressive. As I've mentioned here, it is a Bowens S mount. So that means you have access to all of Bowens heritage light shapers, which is phenomenal because there are so many around. And it just means you have so many options over controlling your light. And again, that's super exciting for me particularly. So let's get down to some of the statistics in terms of the light output. So 300 watt system. We also 5,600 daylight balanced, which is great. So we have accuracy over that as well. So CRI 98, TLCI of 95. So when we say 5,600 Kelvin, it's extremely accurate to that. we have 0 to 100 continuous step up. So sometimes you'll find with some LED products, the jump from 0 to 10%, there's no real change. The jump from 10% to 20%, there's a slight change. And then all of a sudden from 20 upwards, you really start to notice a difference. This has step ups in 1% increments. So, you know, there's a real difference between 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, and so on and so forth. And that's because we can control it with this system here. We also have access to a 2.4 gigahertz wireless setup, so we can control these through a wireless router, which I've shown previously, and a mobile phone, and the RC1 remote control, which is great. Overall weight of the system, so this comes in total, so the light itself is 2.3 kilos, so it's extremely light. I've been stuck at home, not doing any exercise, and you can see here that it's light enough to be able to point and hold in different directions. So it's a light product. If you combine the head and this together, the total weight is 4.8 kilos. So just shy of 5 kilos. The reality is this is always going to have its weight held up by a stand, or on the floor because it's flat base, or if someone's holding it. So, you know, this is not, they're never really going to be weighted in together. You're not going to hold both of them like that. This will always be mounted. So the real weight you want to look at is the head basically, and that is 2.3 kilos. Or for those that are working in pounds, 5.1 pounds, and then combined 10.6. So that covers that. In terms of our light output, so we're just going to go into that now. So at 1 meter with this standard reflector that you see here, okay, so with that standard reflector, we generate 43,060 lux. Okay, that's an incredible output with this reflector. Now, if we take the reflector off, we go down to 13, so 13.26. Okay, so you can tell that this reflector is creating or amplifying a lot of that output. So if you really want to get into, you know, having the most amount of light available, using this is an absolute must-have. So highly recommended to use that. So what a lot of cinematographers and, you know, gaffers and stuff like that do is, rather than shaping this with Bowen's light shapers, because that's more for a stills industry, what they will do is use one of these and they will bounce it through a 4x4 diffuser block. And that way you're getting all of that power and you're still being able to create a soft light because it's flowing through a flat surface like that. So rather than using a Bowen softbox, which is traditionally for stills, if you are doing movie, then you just use the head as it is with the reflector and shine that light for a surface. So at the moment I'm being lit by 500 and we're bouncing the light to the ceiling, which is great. We have us 2 seconds. I think I've got... Just had indication that I have low battery, so we will be coming to an end pretty promptly, just to make sure we don't cut out halfway through. So first of all, I had a text message. Now I have a low battery. So yeah, we're coming to the end of this anyway. So we've covered at 1 meter, it's 43,060 lux with the hard reflector. Without the hard reflector, it's 13,260 lux. At 3 meters. With the hard reflector, with 4,073, and then without it, with 1,598. Now, in terms of all these statistics, there are 3 different products in the Forza range, and they have different outputs depending on what light shaper you've got on there. So it's very difficult for me to remember all the statistics. So what I will do is I will add a link down below to all of those statistics so you can compare them. But hopefully that gives you a bit of an overview of the Forza 300. And just to recap, we have a Forza 300 promotion at the moment, or we have a Forza promotion full stop. That basically means if you buy a 60, you get the Bowen's adapter free, or the value of that discounted off the 60. If you buy a 300, you get a 60 free. If you buy a 500, you get the FL20 Fresnel, and you also get a 60 free as well. So there are some territories that will give you a discount as opposed to the free products. They are the USA, Hungary, Saudi, and UAE, and also Spain. So those are the territories that it's not applicable in. Outside of those applicables, you will be able to get the free products, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. There will be a link down below to sign up to our newsletter and stay on top of that. The first newsletter of April will come out within the first few days of April. That will tell you what the prize is for the April competition. So it's well worth bearing that in mind. And yeah, until next time, guys, stay tuned. If you have any more questions, feel free to add them into this video here, and we will answer them in our own time. If you've got any suggestions for future videos, give us a shout, and we will see you all soon. Take care. Bye bye.